This is Yosr Allouche. I'm the Director General of the International Institute of Refrigeration. Thank you very much for inviting me to take part of the YOF Forum on Climate Protection, and I do congratulate you for this initiative. I apologize I'm not able to be with you here today on the energy efficiency session. Just landed a couple of hours ago, but I'm sure that this presentation will be delivered to you, and I'm very happy to interact with you at a later time. So today I'm speaking about some solutions for a warming world, and you will see the role and how critical is the role of refrigeration in the climate action. So please let me start with a brief introduction of the IIR. So the International Institute of Refrigeration is an intergovernmental organization working with governments, academia, national associations, and industries, providing with knowledge and expertise in all aspects of refrigeration as well as heat pump technologies to secure a sustainable future for all. The International Institute of Refrigeration involves 59 member countries from different regions in the world. We do have plus 950 private and corporate members and more than 300 active scientists with unique expertise in the field. Since 116 years now that the IIR is existing, we have been the reference in providing with access to trusted and valuable information about cutting-edge technologies in the refrigeration sector. And this is largely done through our dedicated experts and commissions whose contribution and support have been instrumental in advancing the community knowledge in various areas. So we are covering technologies from cryogenics to heat pump technologies and covering different applications of refrigeration, food, health, utilities, and comfort building. You may have a look at our website where you will find various publications, technical briefs on various topics. You can also check the free doc database to access more than 100,000 documents. So this is the largest database in the world gathering information about refrigeration technologies. You can also have or check our various books on refrigeration and guides. So to set up the scene for the topic, I believe we are all aware about how vital refrigeration is becoming in our daily life. Extreme heats are everywhere to the high greenhouse gas concentration, mainly carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and F gases. In 2023, the global average carbon dioxide concentration has reached a new record of 420 parts per million, which is well above the limit of the 350 parts per million to keep the 1.5 degrees Celsius on track. So it's not only a matter of extreme heats, but also a matter of frequency and duration of the heat waves, which are directly impacting the populations and human comfort. Summer 2023, for example, here I'm citing, it was recorded as the hottest summer since 1880. Only in Europe, we have registered more than 62,000 deaths. In India, for example, according to the Indian Cooling Action Plan, India may be among the first regions in the world to face heat waves that exceed clearly the limit of the human survival. So increased temperatures, but also increasing world population, and particularly here again in India, exceeding 1.5 billion by 2030. And another example in another region, sub-Saharan Africa, which population is expected to double by 2050. So increased population, which has actually the right to have access to safe and quality food. It's not only about food safety, but also food quality. According to the FAO in 2022, 2.4 billion people in the world did not have consistent access to food, while 25,000 people yearly die from hunger. So food is here. Food is there. However, up to 12% of global food production is lost at one point because of the lack of cold chains, which can actually feed up to 950 million people in the world. So thinking a little bit about that, finding ways to prevent these losses is far more sustainable than investing in massive food production, which has an associated energy and then carbon costs. And what is the answer to all that? The answer is refrigeration and cold chains, which need to be clearly recognized as a vital infrastructure and no more considered as luxurious appliances. However, refrigeration also generates direct and indirect emissions in terms of energy use and refrigerant leakage. According to the International Institute of Refrigeration, our estimations, refrigeration consumes 20% of the global electricity demand, which is projected to double in 2050. So the implementation of a clean and sustainable cold chain is then critical. It was also estimated by the IAR that increasing the number of refrigerant equipment per capita in low-income economies to that in the high-income economies, also in terms of performance and low GWP refrigerants use, and this is what we call an improved cold chain, would reduce the global food loss by 55% while reducing the global emissions of the current global cold chain by more than 47%. IAR also has estimated recently emissions associated to air conditioning sector, and we clearly claim that the only way to achieve global target of reducing AC emissions by 1/3 by 2025, while recognizing the 2.5-fold increase in the number of AC equipment, is to work out, apply, and promote energy efficient measures while looking at reducing the refrigerant leaks at the same time through regular checks, better maintenance practices, and use of environmentally friendly refrigerants. And I will come to that in a moment. So this takes me to my next slide to mention that 3 goals that we need to strive for and that we need to work out simultaneously to achieve the sector sustainability, which are reducing the energy demand. This is the first thing to look at. Improving the energy efficiency and adopting environmentally friendly refrigerants. So giving few examples here about how we can reduce the energy demand. An example I'm giving for refrigeration equipment in a supermarket display cabinet, for example. The basic thing of adopting closed door cabinet, as simple as that, is proved to achieve energy saving up to 70%. Also giving another example for comfort cooling, the adoption of passive cooling solutions to reduce cooling loads while at the same time maintaining the desired thermal comfort. This can be easily done through an improved insulation, for example, of the buildings, adopting reflective surfaces, adopting natural refrigerants, good natural refrigerants practices, natural ventilation practices, and sustainable urban design solutions. So it has to do also with the architecture of the building. And according to UNEP, passive cooling techniques for buildings can reduce the AC demand up to 24%. In terms of energy efficiency, it's estimated by the International Institute of Refrigeration that emissions from the refrigeration sector are 63% originating from indirect emissions. And what we mean by indirect emissions are the emissions associated to the energy consumption from the grid, while 37% are related to direct emissions from the refrigerant leakage. So what is the answer to that? How can we mitigate and limit these indirect emissions? And the answer is very simple, is energy efficiency. This is how we can mitigate these indirect emissions. And this is defined as the way to achieve the highest system performance while we are using the less of the energy. There are benefits relating to the energy efficiency, lower environmental footprint through a reduced energy consumption from burning fossil fuels, also making saved energy available for other vital applications and then contributing to the energy security, and also reduced energy and operational costs. So how energy efficiency is measured by the coefficient of performance. So the maximum efficiency we can get from the cycle is determined by the coefficient of Cobb-Karnow as the ratio of useful refrigeration provided to the work required. It can be also calculated from the temperatures relationship, applying the first law of thermodynamics, and it can be seen here to the right hand side that for every increase of ambient temperature by 1 Kelvin, the Cobb decreases by up to 2.5%, of course assuming evaporator temperature remaining the same. So it's very important to adapt the system design to cope with increasing ambient temperatures and extreme heats. And this is important to consider, as otherwise, if we are not looking at the adaptation as well, systems will need to operate well above the design conditions, which is very energy consuming. And this means then greater energy consumption, increased carbon emissions, so the indirect emissions, and less cooling capacity provided. So to achieve energy efficiency, we need to adopt a holistic approach. It's need to be adopted, taking effective measures at various levels, and technical solutions are actually available. I'm giving here a few examples. Heat recovery, particularly in the case of using CO2 transcritical systems, which provides the opportunity to respond to the heating needs, but at the same time considering or responding to the cooling needs. This improves considerably, significantly the COP of the system. Other solutions, adoption of thermal energy storage for peak shaving to make use of the energy availabilities for a later use, use of renewables, and reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Again, energy efficiency means work on the appropriate design and use of the components as the frequency inverters to improve the efficiency of compressors. This has been demonstrated to reduce up to 60% of the energy consumption if we are adopting compressors with the frequency inverters. Other energy efficient measures as the adoption of the appropriate control strategies, application of regular checks and maintenance practices. This is extremely important. Now we are also adopting the artificial intelligence to predict the failures and then the leaks, and this can be very helpful also to adopt energy or to reduce the energy consumption and enhance energy efficiency. So now in terms of refrigerants, both the Montreal Protocol and its Kigali Amendment, they have set up a roadmap to a gradual phase down of the HFC in two groups of countries, Article 5 developing and non-Article 5 countries, developed countries, with the same target but with different timeline, recognizing the country economical and political situation, financial resources, and so. So it basically aims at cutting the HFC refrigerant production and use by 2048 in Group 2 of Article 5 by 85% compared to their baseline years, and by 80% in Group 1 of Article 5 countries. And as you can see, a firmer schedule for developed countries has been set, which is aiming at an 85% reduction by 2037. Within the current climate context or climate change context, with extreme heats and a warming world, we need to faster HFC phase down rate. So clearly more action is needed beyond the goal of the Kigali to accelerate the HFC phase down. There are some regions in the world which are very much conscious about that. I'm citing here, for example, the example of Europe, where the third revision of the FCAS regulation sets up plans for a total phase out of HFC by 2050. So it's the first time where we are speaking about the total phase out, not phase down. It also, this third version of the FCAS, it requires certification schemes for technicians to safely work with natural refrigerants. This is also new. Another topic in Europe about PFAS restriction to a certain number of refrigerants, and although having a low GWP, but these are often mentioned as extremely persistent in the environment and very harmful for humans. So this is the topic behind the PFAS proposal to the European Chemical Agency. So I need to mention it's still this PFAS issue is still at the proposal phase. It's now being under evaluation, and a decision on the topic is expected in 2 years from now. So a rapid uptake of environmentally friendly refrigerant at a global scale is necessary, alongside with a better refrigerant life cycle management to prevent emissions from leaks. In terms of natural refrigerants, solutions have been demonstrated in high-income economies, and also they are being demonstrated in low-income economies with hot climates. But we need to recognize that consistent support to these countries in terms of trainings of the safe use of natural refrigerant is still needed. We know that hydrocarbons are flammable, ammonia is toxic, so appropriate trainings needs to be properly implemented, and support to leapfrogging to these technologies is really required before speaking about implementation of this technology. You may have a look at some of our work at the IAR conducted so recently in collaboration with the World Bank, where we have been providing technical assistance about the implementation of clean and energy efficient cold chains for livestock value chain in Bangladesh, and integration of inland waterways transportation cold chain sector in West Bengal. So an example of topics or projects we are doing in the region. So we have been doing various work from market needs assessment of cold chain infrastructure, contributing to the development of business model, financial mechanisms, alongside with developing training materials and also policy guidance to policy makers. We are also very active in EU projects, securing communication of the main outcomes of pioneering projects demonstrating energy efficiency technologies, applying natural refrigerants, but not only. You can also have a look at SOFIA projects implementing sustainable off-grid energy supplies and clean drinking water for rural areas in Africa. India Plus project aiming at supporting India into the transition to clean and decarbonized refrigeration and heating sectors. So yeah, so that's all. Thank you very much for this nice opportunity, and I hope the next time I will be on site with you. You can scan this QR code, check our activities. You are very welcome to join us. Information is open for everybody, and thank you again. I wish you a very successful workshop, and see you soon. Thank you very much.